What's up, you guys? All right, well, once again, I've got a dog about an inch and a half from my face, and she and I are celebrating our, girl, come on, please, our 29th consecutive green day. It was not an easy one. I actually had a great start to the day. I got myself up around $2,500, and then in one trade, I gave it all back and was actually down $250 on the day. And from there, I was like, all right, well, I'm down 250. I'm not walking away. I'm not walking away down 250. I'm gonna try to do it. I'm gonna try to get myself green on the day. But it ended up taking like 2 hours. I churned some shares a little bit. I had some winners and some losers. My commissions were getting higher. I was sort of slipping a little bit deeper into the red. And I was like, I'm not making a lot of progress here. This isn't good. And then I decided to actually stop trading the small cap stocks and switch gears, and I traded Grub and NVAX. And on those two, I did pretty well and finished up $1,200 before commissions, which is not bad at all. Commissions today are going to be higher, mostly on CBay, which is the one I lost on and traded also the most aggressively. And you win some, you lose some. I don't really have any strong, like, man, I made a big mistake today or anything like that. I think I maybe took a little too much size on that last trade that I lost on, but I could have just as easily been a winner. So, it's easy come, easy go. I'm not going to be bent out of shape over it. And in any case, I am glad that I'm able to finish the day green, because I was starting to think, man, there's not a lot of small caps moving. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a chance to get myself into the green. And then NVAX and Grub were the ones that I jumped on. So things came together today for the 29th consecutive green day. Hopefully tomorrow I can make it 30 green days. And once I have, I believe, more than 30 days, I'll be on my second longest green streak. My first longest is 56 days. So I've still got a little ways to go to break that one, but I think the second is 30. So anyways, that's it for me. I'm gonna let you guys go, and I will see you first thing tomorrow morning. I'll be live streaming the watch list as always, right around 9:15. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Give me the thumbs up for the 29th consecutive green day, and enjoy the recap as we break down today's trades. All right, that's it for me. Enjoy the recap. All right, everyone. So we're gonna do our recap here for today. It's 12:20, and I just finished trading. I've been trading since 9:30, so it's like a full 3 hours of trading. I traded far past my typical cutoff, which is like 10:30, 11, and that was because I was red, and it took me until 12:20 to finally get green, and it was trading Grub, as you can see right here, it's $65 stock, and trading NVAX, both of which are up a lot. NVAX is up 62%, Grub is up 36%, CBay's up 144%, but I could not. I did get green on it, and then I gave back the profit. So I'm going to break down today's trades. It's the 29th consecutive green day, but it was not a clean day, not an easy day. It was a day where I had to trade all the way till 12:20 to get myself green, which isn't typically something I would do. It's also not usually a great idea to keep trading just for the sake of being green. I think that it's something that can be done at a certain level of experience, and it's something that a beginner trader should be really careful of, because there's a very fine line between giving in to FOMO, revenge trading, and trading out of sort of an emotional impulse, and having, being calm, cool, collected, and saying, okay, I've dug myself a pretty deep hole. I'd like to get out of it today, and I can do it if I sit in this chair patiently waiting for good quality setups. And that was what I did. And honestly, probably every day, if I wanted to trade till 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., I could keep trading, and I probably would find more opportunities. It's just, the fact is, the more time you spend sitting in the chair, the more you do expose yourself to risk. And look at NVAX just for instance. In this one candle, it dropped from $41.50 right here down to 39 bucks. That's a $2.50 drop in one candle. And it came out of nowhere with no warning. It just all of a sudden dropped. So, the more you trade each day, the more time you spend in the market, the more you expose yourself to something like that potentially happening. I actually, as this happened, I was still holding 250 shares from down, I got in this at $40 and then added around 40, I added at 41. So my cost basis, I had a good cost basis and I took profit. I'm up $741 on it, but in that drop, all of a sudden, and I didn't want to add because I didn't know why it was dropping that far. When it came back up, I got out for a little bit of a loss, but that's risk exposure, or that's exposure through just risk through exposure time, the more time you spend in the market. All right, so let's rewind to 9:15 before this day really started to unfold. So if I run my scanner here for 9:15 a.m., what we will see is that at 9:15, CBay was our leading gapper. All right, so this stock was gapping up approximately 147%. It had a 68 million share float, but 147% with a catalyst and 7.75 million shares of pre-market volume. By the time the bell was ringing, it had almost 10 million shares of volume. So it was very thickly traded. Now I looked at the stock first on the daily chart. I took a peek at it. Daily chart, no issue, looks fine. A little bit of resistance up here around 515, but otherwise it looked fine. On the intraday chart, pre-market, move started after hours, started squeezing up, and then it hit a high during the day of about $5.38. During pre-market. Then it pulls back and drops. I ended up having some trades down in this area here, and I had one that was just brutal. I was actually up on this. Well, you know what? I don't know how much profit I had before that trade, but I was up about $2,000 on the day before this drop right here. Look at that thing. So on this trade, it came back up through the VWAP. I took a trade right here around 430 for the breakthrough VWAP. It squeezes up to 554 or 454. It pulls back. I added back for the break of 450. It hits 451 and then drops to 415. It drops right there to 415, and I was like, okay, wow. Let's see if it pops off that low. And it flushed and broke 415 and dropped to 408, and I had to cut my loss at 415. So in that trade right there, I lost almost $2,000 and gave back all of my profit from the morning. So at that point, I had my P&L like this, and I was like, okay, I got to see, where am I at? And it showed that I was down $247. And I was like, God dang it. So I did the math. I knew how many shares I had, and I was like, wow. So I was up probably $2,200. And just like that, I overstayed my welcome. And, this is risk in the market that although we don't expect these types of drops, that sometimes they happen. And so that actually might end up being one of my bigger losses of the month, around 2,500 or whatever it was. So disappointing, to say the least. And it felt like, okay, and what time was that? That was 10 past 10. So at 10 past 10, I basically had to start over. I was break-even. Well, I was red on the day. I was red. So I was red on the day, and from there I had to start over. Now this ended up coming back up, but through here, I didn't feel super comfortable. I did take this 1 minute breakout right here, but with smaller size, as per what happened before. And it only popped up like 8 cents, so I made, like $100 on that. Nothing to be excited about. It consolidates, it comes back up. I got back in first right here at 60. I thought it was going to break 60, failed. Stopped out, lost again. And then I got back in again for the break of 60, and this one popped up to a high of 75. I took profit. I then got back in at 75. I added at 95. It didn't break over 5 and then stopped out when it came back to 80. I then got back in right here for 90. It failed again. And, this was just a really kind of frustrating stock. I made back a little bit, and then I gave back a little bit. So I'm pretty much where I sat on it after that false breakout right there, or this one right here. So yeah, this was not, I was only up like $100 on it before. I had a couple trades on it, made a little, lost a little, not a lot of progress. And then I had that really one big loss, and that was it. So I was just like that deep in the red. Well, deep in the red. I was down $250 or whatever. So from that point, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try to start digging my way out of the hole one trade at a time. And I made the conscientious decision today that if I could, I would try to finish the day green, which I knew meant that I was going to overtrade a little bit. And that was to try to preserve my green streak that I'm on. So today's the 29th consecutive green day. And being down $250, I felt like, look, there's a good chance I can find something that'll give me $250 of profit. So I started looking around for some trades. I had a couple trades on CBay, made a little, gave a little back. I had a trade on Mark right here, a couple trades on it. Really not a super easy one to trade. It did have a little breakout here earlier in the day, which I traded, and then it came back up again right here, but not very impressive. So not much to show for on that one. ASTC, this was actually a trade from earlier in the morning. It popped up on the scan. I did a dip entry on it, and then it popped back up. I made about 15 cents on a dip entry, which was nice. NNVC was my best trade out of the gates, and that was the one that put me green on the day. I did the red to green move on it, getting long for the break of 10 right down here, actually on a dip. So it tapped 10, it pulled back. I bought this dip right down here, bounced off VWAP. I was in at about 75 and then added over 10, and it ripped up to 1060. So that was the biggest winner of the day. That was before my loss on CBay. So these aren't sorted in order of the trade. They're sorted biggest to worst total profit. But the actual order, I think I had a small winner on CBay immediately when the market opened. Then I had ASTC and then NNVC. So, around that time, I was up about $2,500. Then I had 9. This one hit the momentum scanner, and I tried to do a dip entry on it, and I was too early. So on this one, I bought it at 80. It tapped 3. I bought at 80, looking for it to curl back up, and then I stopped out right around here. So, lost $400 on that. Not great, but not terrible. And then after my loss on CBay, that was when I sort of, first of all, I spent a good amount of time watching CBay and taking additional trades on it, thinking that this was the one I was going to be able to make back my money on. But the problem was that I just was churning shares. I would get in with 6,000 shares. I'd make 2 cents and then see something like a big seller, and I'd be like, nope, I better get out, and I'd get out. And then I'd get back in, and I'd be up 3 cents, and then I'd take the profit. And so it was like I just wasn't having big wins. It was just small wins and small losses and just not making headway. So after a few trades there, NVAX popped up. Someone mentioned, keep an eye on NVAX here. And I had seen it earlier, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. But that big red candle, that drop, that was so ugly. And this was so ugly. But as I looked at it more and more, it consolidated here under $40. And so finally I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll take a quick trade on it. And at that point, I was trying to remember where I was at on the day. I think I was actually, I had the loss on CBay. I was down $250. And then I made my way to up about $500. But I knew that my commissions were going to be through the roof. And this is my gross profit here. It doesn't show the commissions on Lightspeed. I have to log into the Lightspeed platform to actually see what my net profit is after all the commissions. So I saw my commissions were like $600. And that was because of how many trades I'd taken on CBay. And so I was like, okay, so I'm actually red. So even though I'm green here, my net profit is red. I'm red. So that's when I was like, all right, I just, let's try to grab a couple more small trades. And so this one right here from 40, this broke 40, as you can see right here. The next spot was it needed to break over 50, and it actually broke 50 nicely and squeezed up to 60, 70 to 41, all the way up to 41.50 before having that drop. So I made $700 on that, which was good. So that put me back in the right direction. And then the last trade was on Grub, which I hesitated on initially when the news came out that Uber has reportedly offered to acquire GrubHub. And, I saw it spike up. I saw it get halted. I was just like, nah, I'm not in a place where I can trust trading this. I don't have a cushion. I just don't think I can do it. And that was right when the news came out. But then after the news had been circulated for a little while, it started to consolidate. And the trade that I took on it was, I believe let's go back here. It was actually right here. It was a long, right here over 61, and then adding over 61.42, and then adding at 62. And I think I did another add up at like 63, but with small size. So 250 shares was my default share size on that stock. I just knew the risk was too high. But still, I was able to make $777. And with that, I got myself well into the green, up $1,280.69 and green after commissions. So that was my wild ride today, from green to red to back to green. So if I import my trades from yesterday to TraderView, we can look a little bit at yesterday. I would say that yesterday and today has been a little slower in terms of momentum in the market. We haven't seen as many really strong stocks aside from Grub, which has been very strong, but outside my price range. NVAX, really quite strong as well, but outside my price range. So with stocks between $2 and $9 or $10, we haven't seen a lot of really strong stocks. The leading gapper, CBay, we can look at it right now. This is where it sits on the day. So it's not, it gave some opportunities. I had a hard time with it, and then I got caught in a couple of big drops. So I didn't do very well on it. 9. Popped up, pulled back, didn't hold its level. ASTC, same story. Popped up, pulled back, didn't hold its level. I made a little on it. That was ASTC. And then NNVC is the only small cap that I actually made some decent money on. And that was thanks to the red to green move. But it didn't hold its level either. So what I really need is a nice momentum stock that's squeezing up and holding its levels really well. And we did have that, but only on the higher price names. So after getting kind of frustrated with CBay, I was like, you know what? I need to trade something that's moving. I would like to try to get myself, green. I'm not that far away from green, so I'm going to go for it. But again, I really want to reiterate that what I did today, I did it very conscientiously, knowing that I was over trading, and that on a typical day, I probably would have walked away. But that today, I really wanted to try to finish the day green. That was my motivation. And that I believed that if I sat in my chair long enough, I would find some good quality setups. I found a few on CBay, made a little, then gave it back. And I was like, all right, that one's not working. So I'm going to put that one aside. Then I switched gears and focused on NVAX, made a little, and gave a little bit back on that drop, but still was green. So I was like, okay, nice progress. And then I saw Grub starting to rip up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to jump on that one and try to ride the momentum, and that one put me over the green line. So that was fine. What would not have been fine is if I started jumping in every stock that hit the scanner, because every stock that hit the scanner was not a qualified setup. If I jumped in MBOT at 843, what would have happened? I would have bought it at the highs right before it came back down. That wouldn't have been good. MGS, I didn't even look at the stock, but if I bought that into the highs, it wouldn't have worked. So I had to really be picky. And sometimes when you're trying to get yourself out of the hole, you can get sloppy. And when you start getting sloppy and you get a little complacent, that's when you can get yourself into trouble. So this was yesterday, $4,200 of profit. Today will be a very small green day. It'll probably actually be like what day was it? Oh, that's April. Sorry. Let's go to reports view. I had a day last week. This was the day last week, Friday. I finished like basically after commissions, $100. I knew that I overtraded again on Friday, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to push my luck. So where I sit on the month right now in gross profit, well, I've got $134,000 since my last red day, not including today. Today's profits won't be significant, but $41,000 on the month gross profit, and my commissions on the month have been about $1,900 in commissions and about $4,000 in ECN fees, which is per share. So I've given, around $6,000 to commissions so far this month, but that's not bad. I mean, again, you pay as you go. So, it's like if you talk to a truck driver and he was like, yeah, I paid, $7,000 in, highway tolls, you'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah, well, he's driving a lot. He's driving all over the place, and he's getting paid every time he drives. So, yeah, it's a lot, but it's cost of doing business. So it's the same thing with trading. Each day as I trade, I generate commissions. So it's not like I start the month with $6,000 in commissions and then have to try to make money. Every trade I take, I pay $2, and then I pay an ECN fee based on my direct access routing. So I use direct access routing, which you can see in like this window right here. So if I direct access route to NASDAQ, I'll get the fastest executions, and I have to pay for those. So it's a toll, basically. And it's a toll that I think is absolutely worth paying. So anyways, that's just part of the way, that's part of trading. And I've talked about that a little bit, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in some upcoming videos, just in terms of commissions are something that we deal with. We know that they're there, and we do have to be mindful of commissions as we're trading. Those of you guys trading in Robinhood, Webull, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade accounts, you have the benefit of no commissions. But, execution price may not be as good. So that's where you can get into a little bit of trouble. If it costs you an extra 5 cents per share to get in with 1,000 shares, my average gain is only 5 cents. Now that's total of all the trades. So that's including the losers. So the losers bring down your average, and the winners obviously draw it up. So it's not that all my winners are an average of 5 cents. It's that my average per trade is 5 cents. So that if you had 5 cents of slippage, the difference between 5 cents over the course of a month of trading can be significant, really significant. So it's important, if you're going to be a really active and aggressive trader, that you're managing your risk appropriately, and you're using software that allows you to trade as quickly as you may want to. So anyways, today I did have to spend some more time sitting in my chair, digging myself out of the hole, but I did it. I have a second shot at maintaining my green streak. Well, I've had 2 days where I've had close calls, and I've had to trade a little bit, maybe 3 days to get myself back to green. But I've been able to do it these 3 days that it's happened. So 3 days out of 29, it's not bad. So anyways, the market has been a little slow the last 2 days, but that's also something to be mindful of, because, it's kind of like the tide going out. Well, just wait for it to start to switch, because when it switches and we start seeing it ripping back in, we're going to see some really good momentum opportunities. So you want to make sure you're prepared for them. You know how to spot them early on so you can capitalize on that profit, because it's often the first few stocks as the momentum picks up that are the most dramatic, and then it starts to kind of wane and slow down a little bit before the tide kind of rolls over and we start to see things slow down. So the market really does go in these kind of, waves of momentum, and things are hot and then they cool off a little bit and then they heat up again. And some days it also oscillates between small caps and large caps. Today, the momentum was stronger in larger cap stocks. And on a typical day, I probably wouldn't have even messed with Grub. Not because I can't trade it, not because it doesn't set up patterns or opportunities, but because it takes more money to take those types of trades. And I generally find that I am more consistent and more profitable with lower price stocks. But today I dipped my toe a little bit in the large caps and higher price stocks and was able, thanks to those, to get myself green on the day. So that's it for me. Day 29, $1,280.69 in gross profit after commissions. Won't be a big green day, but it is a green day. So I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, and I will see you guys in the morning. Warrior Pro students, we're going to jump over to the Warrior Pro room and do some Q&A here for just a little bit. Hey, did you know that I go live every single morning between 9 and 9:15 to stream my pre-market watch list? Subscribe to the channel, press the bell for the alert, and you'll get the notification.